Hi there. Do you suffer from bloating, fatigue, chronic inflammation, or maybe even an autoimmune disease? If so, your gut may be begging for help. Welcome to Gut Health Made Simple. I'm your host, Kim. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 key foods that you might consider removing from your diet in order to help heal your gut. The first thing I want to talk about is the word diet. When we think of the word diet, often we think of the word restriction. Instead of thinking about restriction, how about we think about opportunity? And with this in mind, when I tell you the things that maybe you should remove from your diet, I'm going to give you some options to substitute. The very first thing that we should think about removing from our diet are refined sugars. I know that sugar makes everything taste better, and in fact, many of the things that I enjoy most in life, food-wise, are filled with sugar. However, our gut is filled with both good and bad bacteria, and the bad bacteria in our gut feasts on sugar, particularly refined sugar. You'll find in my videos that I talk a lot more about looking at ingredients than I do looking at nutrition facts. However, I will recommend that when you go to the food store or when you're looking for a snack to eat, that you do check to see how many added sugars are in the food that you're preparing to eat. If you're seeing a number of added sugars that sort of like meets the amount of total sugars in your product, that's not really that great. So you're going to want to go and you're going to want to look for something that has less or even zero added sugars. A great way to substitute sugar as a sweetener is to use our natural sweeteners like maple syrup, honey. I like to have medjool dates as a snack in place of like a candy bar or a piece of cake, which I previously would have enjoyed. So looking at those types of options are going to be a great way to substitute. One quick note is that artificial sweeteners are not the way to substitute for sugar. We know that aspartame and other artificial sweeteners like that have been connected to brain issues, and it's not the best way for us to improve our health. Now let's talk about gluten. So some people already know that they have a gluten sensitivity. However, others who are dealing with inflammation and autoimmune diseases don't recognize that gluten could be part of the cause for their inflammation. Because of this, gluten-free options like quinoa or buckwheat or even almond flour might be better for those individuals. And if you're a bread lover, there's no worries here. Sourdough bread is already fermented in the process through which it's made, and therefore it doesn't have the same impact on individuals who are gluten sensitive. Consider giving sourdough a try. So you've probably heard the negative talk about seed oils. Well, seed oils can be very, very sneaky. They can make their way into most of our foods that we find on the shelves and even in the frozen food aisle in the form of canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil. These types of oils are highly processed and therefore can lead to great inflammation in our bodies. A couple great ways to substitute for seed oils are to choose olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Butter is even a better option than these seed oils, and consider using ghee in some of your recipes. Finally, dairy can be a problem for many, many people. We've heard the term lactose intolerance, and that's an intolerance to the enzyme in dairy, but there's also folks who have a hard time processing the protein in certain types of dairy. One recommendation that I have is that if you don't have a lactose intolerance, but you do have a protein intolerance, try A2 milk. It's not found in all stores, but it can be found in many. And this is a difference in the type of protein that needs to be broken down when humans digest the milk. And many people find it easier on their digestive system. So that's one option. Another option is to choose cheeses from goats or sheep. That those proteins are more easily broken down. And additionally, you can always substitute your dairy with things like almond milk, coconut milk, and even fermented foods like kefir and yogurt. So those are the 5 big offenders with some easy swaps to help reduce your inflammation and manage some of those chronic issues. If you found this information helpful, please click like below. And if you'd like to know when my next video is posted, click subscribe below. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video.